Good morning, everyone. Today is Friday, May the 13th, and welcome to a brand new edition of the Kingdom Driven CEO. First of all, before we jump in, I want to give a shout out to my good buddy Roger Ramsire. He is one of Tulsa's top leaders, and we are co-chairing a great event here in Tulsa for Habitat for Humanity Together. And he told me how much he missed the podcast this weekend, and I want to apologize to all of you. This Little League Baseball deal is about to get the best of me. We started really early on Saturday morning, and that's usually when I do my podcast, and I just didn't have time to do a good job. And so anyway, the week got busy, and so here we are. Today, we are going to talk about a really important topic, and it is called mental health and not mental illness. And let me tell you why I want to bring this topic to you today. I have learned of some amazing statistics from my friend Tim Lehman. Tim is with a company called Marketplace Chaplains, and they bring chaplains into your business. And we were talking with him about doing this in our business, and he gave a speech at one of our luncheon series for the bank, and it was very eye-opening. Let me give you some statistics to open this podcast. About 85% of our employees feel like they have no one to talk to. 41% are dealing with some type of mental or behavioral health issue. 31% are dealing with anxiety or depression. 26% trauma and stress. 13% have started or increased substance abuse, and this is in the last year. And then 11% have considered suicide in the last year. The suicide ideation numbers were double from the prior summer. It's more prevalent among males than females, and the youngest respondents reported the highest percentage of adverse mental issues. About 75% of young people ages 18 to 24 are having negative thoughts. So why do I mention this? Because as leaders, particularly as kingdom-driven leaders, our entire goal is to care about the person. Okay, and it's important to know that we probably have people in our organizations that are struggling with these issues. And the main thing that I want to do today is change the way we think about mental health. We tend to focus on mental illness like there is some stigma associated with it, and that is not true. Mental health is just like physical health. When we have mental health issues, we need to go to a doctor or get help just the same way that we need to do that when we have physical health. My son has been having some problems with his back and having a hard time running, and we didn't make fun of him or think bad of him because he got injured. And it's the same way with mental health and wellness. Tim shared in his speech some of his own issues over the years with mental health and how it's very normal and prevalent, and we just need to help people and love them through these issues. Mental health includes our emotional, psychological, and social well-being. It affects how we think, feel, and act. The issue is it also determines how we handle stress, relate to others, and whenever we are dealing with mental health issues. When we're looking at our employees, we want to look at the whole being: emotional, social, environmental, physical, spiritual, and intellectual. It's important. All of these things interact with each other. And when we're looking at wellness of our employees, we need to look at all of this and think about, and I want to repeat them again, think about what we can do for each of these areas for our employees: emotional, social, environmental, physical, spiritual, and intellectual. All that goes into mental health. The challenge is that we are increasingly fragmented in our social structures and relationships, and this has led to increasing fragmentation of our inner person. Our employees spend more time with us than anybody, and if they don't have good relationships and someone to talk to at work, then they may not have anybody to talk to at all. Mental health is a thing that cannot be avoided. It's the never-ending information that our employees are exposed to can be so negative that we have to offset it. They are involved with a never-ending and ever-changing work situation. Work is changing and the world is changing so rapidly, and it will affect their work performance whether we want it to or not. Not addressing it will not make it less of an issue. I'm going to talk about kind of some of the things we've done here at Regent Bank in just a moment, but it's important to normalize it. Help our employees understand. I talked with them, my employees last week about this, and I just said, guys, it's not bad. If you are feeling anxious or depressed or even suicidal, we have people for you to talk to, therapists and people that can talk with you. You can come talk to us. We are not going to demonize or make fun of you because you're having some challenges. Just the opposite. We want to help you. So we have an increasing growth in technology. People, when they look on Facebook, they think that everybody else's life is perfect and not theirs. That is obviously not true. It's creating, because we have constant stress in our lives and we're constantly looking at something online and there is no rest for our minds, it's creating this nonstop stress loop. It can be very, very challenging. So as we think about this is a great quote, and I want us to think about then some solutions as we close here today. We're the healthiest, wealthiest, longest living people in all of history, and yet we are increasingly afraid. It is one of the great paradoxes of our time, and that's from Daniel Gardner, The Science of Fear. So let's talk about some best practices. One is to model this for our employees, to admit that all of us have had mental challenges, that we have all been through issues. We've all had fear. We've all had anxiety, and let them know that they are not alone, and let them know, what steps do we take to help our mental health stay strong. There are some practical steps that we can take. One, talk to another trusted human being on a regular basis. Manage and process our stress. Talk it out with people. Number two, moving our body. Exercise is a tremendous help when it comes to our mental state, getting at least 30 minutes a day of elevated heart rate. Number three, be intentional about rest and sleep. We all need 6 or 7 hours of sleep a night. That is a fact. I, for years, said I was a person that didn't need as much, but that wasn't true. I began to forget things. I began to look at things through a bad lens when I don't get enough sleep. And number four, focus on the inner you. Who are we becoming by the choices we are making today? Would we want to work for ourselves as leaders? Really think about this. Number five, let's leave work at work. Realize that all we can do each day is our best, and when we go home, we've got to let it go. Constantly processing things over and over does not help anybody. And then finally, do something that you enjoy. It's important on the weekends and even in the evenings that we do something that is fun. I get energy from being around other people. So let me just give you a real story. Yesterday, I had a really challenging day. and I had a number of problems brought to me. And, I had, when you're at the top of an organization, people are going to be critical about the things that you do. And I was letting those things bother me. Well, last night we had a really fun event where Angela and I and Roger and Terry are chairing this Habitat event called Rock the House. It was super fun to see my friends and to talk with them, and it totally got me in a different mind space. But when we are isolated and we are not doing things that we enjoy, things can feel very, very dark, and we can get in a bad place. I've been there. I know this is very, very real. So, at the end of the day, what we want to do is we want to cultivate an atmosphere of intentional relationship and affirmation. Okay, and this is what I want to close with today. All of our employees have to know that we care about them. So number one, if you are at the top of your organization, every employee should know that you care about them. We should know something about every employee. We should touch them on their birthday and on their anniversary so that they know they are cared for. All of our managers should spend time with each of our employees talking about them, not their job, not their performance, but them and how are they doing. And I believe I've shared this before, but I had an amazing experience with one of our employees who I thought, beautiful young lady, very nicely dressed, wonderful shoes. Came to us from Bank of Oklahoma, the biggest bank in the market. I thought she was private school, private college, working her way up in the world. And in reality, I just asked her to tell me her story. I said, just tell me about your story. And I found out that she had had immense family challenges, had taken care of her siblings, was now taking care of her husband's brother's kids, trying to find them daycare, trying to potty train them, and she had just gotten married and started a new job. So we figured out ways that we could support her. We prayed together, and I helped her find daycare, and there were a lot of things that we were able to do. She's able to work from home here for a while to help her. There are a lot of things we can do, but mostly our employees have to know that we care. I want to end with this quote that Tim provided us. The way you communicate with your employees has to be ridiculously positive because everything else that they get through their phone and their life is ridiculously negative. And this is by Jeff Summers, Talkspace for Business. I agree with this. We have to give people a light, a place to come where they can enjoy their day, they can have positive interactions, and I just believe we can change this as leaders. Here are 2 books that I think you'll like: 5 Languages of Appreciation in the Workplace and Extraordinary Influence. And our goal is to truly just be the change that we hope to see within our organization. Thank you so much for joining this edition of the Kingdom Driven CEO, and I will be back with you tomorrow morning, I promise, on time, the way that I am supposed to. Have a great Friday.